Welcome to Cars on Call. I am automotive journalist Steve Schutz here with trauma surgeon Stephan Moran. We are the only car podcast that has a trauma surgeon that can actually talk about car safety with some credibility. He's operated on car crash victims and done research on car crash subjects. Stefan, man, how are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to be here. It's been a while, but I'm glad to talk cars and get some stuff off my chest and do a little educating, and I'm looking forward to it.
This is going to be our last podcast with one of your knees.
Yeah, that's funny. Yes, I'm I'm getting a total knee in 10 days from now, and I have been prehabbing. They'll have surgery, then I will rehab. So, but it's interesting. So, I don't know if you've ever had to do any rehab, but they put this tourniquet basically around your leg and you exercise, and because of the decreased blood flow, it's fooling your muscle to actually grow faster and get better and at less work. And it's pretty crazy. I like, this is just a bunch of damn voodoo. And he put that thing on my leg and I got on the bicycle. I could feel my heart rate up at about 125. I mean, it's impressive technology.
Wow. It's cool. When we went to medical school, it was brand new, and very few people actually got new knees. It was, we used to call it bionic after the $6 million man. Now it's like everyone does it.
Well, I'm getting what's called the Mako, Mako knee, and it's kind of like the robotic knee. It's pretty cool. They do a CT scan of your knee, and then based on the CT scan, the computer decides which fitment for the femur and which fitment for the tibia. So then the surgeon makes an incision and he's got a grinder because he's grinding off your cartilage and bone. But it basically goes yellow, it goes green, yellow, red, green, yellow, red. So he's looking at the screen, removing tissue, and it's telling him it does the contour and tells him, and you get minimal tissue removal. And then basically the implants fit on like contact lenses. I mean, it's very cool. So
It's isn't it amazing? It's like a car part. You're taking out your clutch or
it's
something.
like 3D printing almost.
Right. It's amazing to me.
It is. I'm looking. Well, I'll let you guys know what it's really like afterwards. But
Yeah, the next
hey,
show you'll be noticeably more metallic.
and maybe I'll be a little better looking like Lindsey Vonn. You know, she has a Mako knee, and she won a bronze medal in the World Cup with it. And
Incredible.
she's a beast, man. She's one of the most impressive athletes of all time with that what she did, accomplished, and skied through. And so
Man, it's cool. Good luck with that, and I'm excited for you. So today we're
yeah,
going to
Adams is on.
cover,
What do you say? Adams is on extended sabbatical, attending family issues. So just
yes, we miss you,
yeah,
Adams, and can't wait to
we
get you
miss
back.
you. And yep.
We're going to talk about, we got a couple interesting things. We talked about high school reunions. We're going to revisit that. Cars to take to your high school reunion. We're going to talk about good idea, bad idea, which was your idea, and it's really great. So we got
Good
some
move,
good,
bad move.
oh, good move, bad move. That's right. I keep
That's right.
forgetting.
You keep
Good move,
saying
bad move.
idea.
You're going to do trauma surgeon safety,
Yep.
cover that, and then we're going to talk Hall of Fame cars. And that's an interesting subject. The Hall of Fame for baseball is being announced and being discussed now, and it's why not Hall of Fame cars? I think about Hall of Fame cars a lot. This is the first time we've actually covered it, and then yeah, I guess that's it. That's a lot of ground to cover today. So, hey, Stefan, you had the idea of what car would you take to your high school reunion? We had ideas. We talked about it. And then we had a couple people, as you might imagine, kind of chime in and say, "Hey, I got an idea." So my son Patrick had a really good one. My son Patrick's not really a car guy, but he does like cars. And I loved his idea. So what he said, Stefan, was he would want a late model BMW Alpina B7, which is the Alpina, which is like super AMG version of the 7 Series. And it's very expensive and it's very nice. And his reasoning was people would look at it and say, "Oh, it's a nice car," but they wouldn't know what Alpina B7 meant. And he said he would like his classmates to say, "Wow, Patrick has a pretty nice car." and then go home and Google it and go, oh shit, it was even nicer than we thought.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, I mean, let me get this picture here. There it is. So the Alpina, the only thing, yeah, the Alpina B7 that is a fantastic choice. And I don't know if if listeners, you listen to the Chris Harris's podcast. He's from England, one of the all-time greatest automotive journalists ever. But everybody on his show, they are huge fans of Alpina. The only thing Alpina, well, how many spokes are on their wheels? Always
20,
20.
always 20, yeah.
It's just too many for me. It looks like a damn Cuisinart or Vitamix wheel. But other than that, that is a really cool choice.
Yeah, it really does combine. It's a gentleman's express, and it combines, tons of power with understated design and a really nice interior. It's very luxurious, but it's also very fast. And you should know that Patrick has driven one.
Oh,
I had an Alpina B7 press car, and he drove it. And I said, just hit the gas, and he hits the gas, and he's like, he just looked at me, and goes, "Whoa!" It's very,
what
very fast.
what's amazing to me is they're considered an independent manufacturer. You know,
Well, they were, but they
they
got
got
bought.
but that's right. BMW bought them out.
Yes, but
They
you're
bought
right.
them.
They were like RUF roof
Yep.
for Porsche. So
But
anyway,
but no. Patrick also said this is the best, and then we got to do. What car do you not want to be seen in at?
uh,
Yes, yes. What car do you not want to be seen at your high school reunion? He had the
yeah,
best answer ever. All right, so think about this, listeners. What would be the most embarrassing car you could show up at the high school reunion? And Steve-O, you got the punchline.
I forgot it.
Your dad's car because you're still living at home.
Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, that's
Oh
right.
my gosh. I was I thought that was just the best answer for the car you do not want to be seen at.
I was thinking Subaru Crosstrek because I'm driving one.
Yeah.
I drive my mother-in-law's periodically. She's now unable to drive, and we have this car that we're kind of sitting on, not quite sure what to do with, so I have to take it out every once in a while. And I haven't mentioned this, Stefan, but this happened yesterday. I kind of touched on this subject, but not totally. If I drive my 911, which is in a good shade of blue, and it's a late model 911, people do notice that you get respect on the roads, and people, you really are treated pretty well. But one thing happens, Stefan, and that is that if a good-looking, even younger woman is walking in front, they will notice, and a lot of times they'll smile. Well, I was coming into my building with the Crosstrek, and there was a very attractive young woman coming out, and not even a glance. I mean, it's like the card, like I wasn't even there. And I know for a fact if I had the 911, I would have probably gotten a little smile.
Yeah.
It's funny. The Crosstrek is just sad.
Well, when I had the Cobra, Ellen used to make fun of me because, of course, guys and boys, but the female species
Right.
loved the Cobra. 6 to 12-year-old girls. I mean, so it was, yeah,
Whoops.
it was
I didn't expect
hysterical.
that.
It was hysterical. It was the young girls the little ones. So that was hysterical. I thought that,
Oh, geez.
yeah,
All right. Well, anyway, good idea or good move, right? Good move, bad move.
yeah, good move. Yeah.
So
All
good
right.
move, bad move. What do you got?
Okay. Oh, good move, bad move. Oh, so okay. So this is interesting. This is so auto start stop on your car. Do you think that's a good move or a bad move?
Terrible.
Okay. So for
Awful.
listeners, you don't have it. That means you come up to a traffic light, your stop sign, and your car turns off. And then it will turn back on when you hit the gas. Let me tell you, so bad move, but my F-150, Jim Farley, doing such a fantastic job with the N50. Let me tell you a good move. So if I'm at the stoplight, first of all, with the F-150, it automatically brakes. So when you come to a stop, you can take your foot off the brake and then the car turns off. Well, I would hit the gas to go, and you got it kind of hesitates for a minute, but on the F-150, If you barely move the steering wheel, it starts the car back up. Good move. I love that feature. Now I don't hate the auto start stop. I don't mind it now because I enjoy the kind of the quiet solitude of sitting there listening to my music. Then when it's time to go, I watch the light, the left turn light go off. I just barely move the steering wheel, engine starts up, and then when I'm ready to go, hit the gas and the truck goes immediately. So
A lot of cars have that. A lot of cars, it's you
I
turn
had no
the
idea. No, I didn't
steering
know.
wheel. Yeah,
I didn't know anything about that.
yeah, the steering wheel. It is kind of nice. You don't have to move your feet.
So I wonder how many listeners out there that have a start stop know that feature on their vehicle. So if you don't, go home, write us in, let us know if your vehicle doesn't have it.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
good point. I thought they all did. I thought if you turn the steering wheel on all of them, that's what
yeah,
happens.
I guess I didn't listen to Doug DeMuro talking about my F-150, the quirks and features.
Perks and features. Yeah,
I got one more thing to share.
yeah.
All right, here we go. Look, check this out, listeners. So, as you know, I designed a watch, a Cobra themed watch, and then I designed this is I'm a huge Gulf racing fan. And absolutely, it's been my very favorite livery of all time. And of course, because of the GT Ford that won in 1960, number six car. So I designed a Gulf watches, and this is based on, this looks like a Speedmaster. So it's got the Gulf theme with the Gulf logo, and Speedmaster says Le Mans 1969, Ford GT40 number six, and it's got the orange and blue stripes, and it turned out really nice. And it's got a leather strap. It turned out a very nice watch.
Absolutely beautiful. It's
Uh,
spectacular.
it's
I
so
like that
cool.
it's very distinctive, it's very attractive, but it's also understated. It's not in
Yes,
your face.
yes, exactly. That was the idea. I wanted it. That's why the stripes were so small. I wanted it to be kind of understated, and then the blue leather strap makes it more understated as well.
Yes. Cool.
All right, if you want one, let me know. We've already two other buddies of mine have already bought one.
Nice.
All right, was it time for safety now?
Well, if you didn't want to, there's a couple other
Oh, what do you
good
got?
good move, bad move
Oh yeah, go ahead.
that I mentioned, and I
Oh,
just
I forgot you're on this podcast too. That's right.
this is this is going to be easy. Audi wants to make a G-Wagon. There was a rumor that BMW wanted to make a G-Wagon, but Audi's going to do it, and I would assume BMW is going to do it too. This has to be a good move, right?
Bad move
Wow, why?
because the G-Wagon to me is so iconic. The people that want a very expensive, true rugged off-roader are going to want the original. Okay. They want the Coca-Cola. They don't want RC Cola. Okay. So in my mind, it's going to be a fantastic vehicle, but I guarantee you you pull up in that Audi next to the G-Wagon, they're not going to be looking at your Audi. They're going to be looking at the G-Wagon. I'm sure they'll steal some sales from Audi diehards, but I don't think they're going to capture a large market share. And I'm sure they've done an analysis of it, because the G-Wagon is what it is. It's a utilitarian, kind of like the Jeep CJ. Somebody tried to reinvent a Jeep. I just don't think it would really work.
Well, I would say this, Stefan. Just as there's room for Pepsi next to Coke, I think there's room
Yeah.
for Audi. And I would say this. I would say it should be Audi and Porsche. And they
Oh no,
should,
no, that absolutely. Like so, Audi tuned by Porsche, kind of like Lotus did.
no, I mean,
Some
have an
Yes.
Audi like the Q5 and have a Porsche like the Macan.
Okay.
Same car. And that's what I would say. If you take a G-Wagon like vehicle and you give it to Porsche and Audi, they can differentiate it. And by the way, there's no reason why Bentley can't do it too. But you could have something that is cool like the G-Wagon, the Mercedes G-Wagon, but it's distinctive and it would be luxurious and it would be desirable. By the way, you talked about the Jeep, and the Jeep is the original off-roader. But guess what? Ford was able to bring the Bronco, and
Yep.
they've done a really good job competing. The Bronco is almost head-to-head sales-wise now with the Jeep.
That's awesome. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it'll do well, but I think if you show up to valet parking at the country club and there's a G-wagen ahead of you and you're in the Audi, you're gonna be, oh, I wish I had a G-wagen. But if you're in the Porsche though, like you said, I think no, that would be even cooler. Because then you're like an enthusiast. You're just not a baller, you know.
Yeah, the G-Wagen is, it ain't nothing like the real thing. And of course, our favorite, or I guess it's our favorite thing, where the Daniel Mack asks a girl getting out of a
Oh yeah.
G-Wagen what she does for a living, and she smiles and says, "I'm a stay-at-home daughter." It's a brand new
Yeah.
G-Wagen. Can't beat that. So,
No.
all right, let's move on to safety and trauma surgeon safety.
All right, so here we go. We're big news and from the Department of Transportation, but you can see from the picture there what I have is so the DOT announced that they finally, I mean, give me a frickin' break. They finally approved the design of the first advanced female crash test dummy called Thor-05F. That means
You've been
fifth.
talking about this for at least 20 years.
Oh, we're gonna get to it. I'm like, about effing time, man. This just irritates the hell out of me. But so this is a fifth percentile female, 59 inches, 104 pounds. And they're hoping this new dummy will help show how airbags, seatbelts, and vehicle structures affect the female body in a crash. Well, hello. I published that literature back in 2001 and 2002. I mean,
More
I
than 20
published the
years.
literature that showed this. I did a study looking at different size people in vehicles and how they were affected differently. And let me go and get that right. And so I've been preaching this, and I was even on NPR with Kai Risdale. He talked to me about my research and what it showed. And at that time, I was like, realistically, they should just have a whole bunch of dummies: a man, short man, tall man, fat man, skinny man, short woman, fat, blah blah, all the way down to kids. And then when your car gets tested, they just pull one off the shelf. Okay. So and to build every car safety standard around the 50th percentile male, who by the way is 5'9", 171 pounds. But that's not 50th percentile in America. I
Not
mean,
anymore.
not anymore. So they finally and I'm like, but they have not included the rule for the new car assessment program yet. So they haven't even written the rule to establish it. They're going to. But I mean, this irritates the hell out of me. I'm not the only one that's irritated by this. I mean, there's literature and people were stating this, advocates, regulators, and back in 1980, people were saying why are we only crash testing a car with a man? Well, this country is run by 80-year-old silver-haired men anyway, and some with orange hair. But if you look at Senate and Congress, it's all old men. Look at your local. Look who sits on your local council. It's predominantly older men, and NHTSA is probably no different. But I mean, this has been going on for too long.
Well, I'm glad they're doing it now.
Finally, yeah, about freaking time. So finally, they're going to get around to it, and but it wasn't until 2003 that NHTSA actually did stick the 5% female into a vehicle. But at that time, all they did was they took the hybrid 3 male with all the same internal structures and just made it a little bit smaller. So it didn't behave like a female. Didn't even have breast on the thing. Okay, but now it has breast and is more like a woman. So finally, but I've talked about on this podcast previously that I mean, this always pissed me off about NHTSA. And NHTSA's failure to address autonomous driving pisses me off.
Hey,
They,
Stefan. Well, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
but I mean, and I'm just going to say what I mean by that, listeners, is that there's all these autonomous driving systems out there, and there's three technologies. You've got lidar, radar, and camera. Tesla only uses camera. Ford uses lidar and camera. I don't know what the others use. The day this stuff came out, and this should have said you have to have a redundant system. You need two or three. Absolutely. You can't just have. And why haven't they come out with a single plug for hybrid and electric vehicles? Why do we have different plugs? You go to the gas station, there's only one nozzle that fits. I mean, how hard is that to do? Uh,
Well, to your point, Stefan, and this is a more serious note, but it completely applies to what you're talking about.
yeah.
And you know this better than I do. There was a child who died during an operation because he got the wrong gases. And his father, who was an engineer, found out that every OR put their gas tubes, they were differently and they had different colors. So this anesthesiologist went from one hospital to another. The colors of the gases were different. So he got it
Oh,
screwed up. And the father fought like crazy to make every single the color of the tubes that went into the
yeah. They're
anesthesia
purple,
machine.
yellow.
Yeah, and now it's
Remember
standardized, but it didn't used to be.
Yeah. Well,
So what you're
I meant I failed to mention this, but as a result of cars being designed to pass with the 50th percentile male, if you compare male versus female statistics, as a result of the way vehicles have been tested, women are 73% more likely to be injured and 17% more likely to be killed than men in a collision. I mean, that's a disparity that's unacceptable.
Hey, it is unacceptable. Let me ask you this question. Since you've operated on so many car crash victims, are there different, the same crash, different types of injuries, male versus female? Is there a characteristic female injury in a car, or is there a characteristic male injury, something you don't see, either way?
Yeah, I have to go back and look. I'd like to look at the statistics to confirm this, but what I clearly recall and what we saw was women typically are smaller framed than men. So as a result of that, they move closer to the steering wheel and airbag.
Right.
And they have more seat belt extended from the pretensioner. You think about it, their seat belt is essentially longer. So what happens is when you're sitting really close to the airbag, when the airbag deploys, your arms and your hands get blown out to the sides. So more upper extremity injuries, and they also had more facial injuries from airbags. And then the
Wow.
woman's chest is not as strong as the male's, so they had more injuries related from the seatbelt. I saw we had a lot of breast injuries from seatbelts, and actually, but my career I probably did only two, but I mean, still had to do emergency. I had to do a mastectomy on a woman because the bleeding was so severe in her breast. Um,
Essentially an amputation
yeah,
of
you
the
had to
breast
remove it. Yeah,
because of that injury.
yes,
Wow. Interesting.
yeah, but
All right. Well, we're going to move on to Hall of Fame and the Baseball Hall of Fame inductees are being announced. And I thought about this a lot because I've had, I would say, three cars in my own life that I would call Hall of Fame cars. But I want, we talked about this and then we said, let's make five Hall of Fame cars that, we think are going to be in Pebble Beach in 80 years, will always be really, really remembered. And some are really obvious. And two of mine that I owned in high school, I had a 240Z. Well, obviously the Z car, especially the 240Z, is going to be a Hall of Fame car. And it's obvious. And then I own a 911. Well, obviously the 911 is a Hall of Fame car, but there's some that aren't quite so well known, and I wanted to talk about that. So I came up with a list, and you can bring up my list. We'll kind of go back and well, no, I
I
guess I'll go through all five, and then you
you
go
go
through
through
all
all
your five.
five. Yeah, let me all
Yeah.
right, let me get the screen share here.
And the first one I kind of hinted at because I was talking about how different eras, especially in the past, cars were special and they were distinctive. And what I always talk about is that, you know, in the 1970s, 80s, 60s, if you got into an American car, you were blindfolded and you drove 50 yards, you would know it was an American car. And if you got into a German car, you know it was a German car. It was Japanese, you know it was Japanese. And now they're all kind of homogenized. Well, this was for me the ultimate German car, not because it was the ultimate German car, but it was so special in its time. The 1980s really were peak Japanese and peak German, whatever you want to call it. And my favorite car, obviously the M5 is the one from the 80s, but that was very limited production and much more accessible and much more common was the 535i. And you can get this in a 5-speed manual. I absolutely love this car. And I know because of the engine, the transmission, understated design, good quality, these cars didn't break down. And what an amazing driving experience. This is going to be a Hall of Fame car. Not the 528E, not the 528i, the 535i, the 3.5 liter inline six magical engine. It was a divine, wonderful, spectacular car. This to me is Hall of Fame, Stefan.
You know, you can't beat inline six in the front with a drive shaft to rear wheel drive. I mean, for driving pleasure. Yeah, I think I love the inline six. I had two cars that had an inline six, both my Lexus GSs. I know I've said this before, I'll say again. Only the inline six and the V12 are two engines that have no inherent frequency vibration. They
That's
don't have to
right.
be balanced. So they're so smooth and great pick. Yeah, I agree. Definitely
Next one
Hall.
is the R107 Mercedes SL. Nobody knows what R107 is, but everybody recognizes this
Oh
car.
yeah.
Last time I reviewed the SL was the newest version, and I said the R107 was the best. It was the ultimate. And of course, we talked about this, and there was disagreement. But I think this was, I mean, just based on the fact this is a Hall of Fame car because it came out in 1971, and they built it until 1989, so 16 years and then or 18 years, sorry. And it never looked old. It never looked dated. It aged so well. This is a car in American Gigolo, with with Richard Gere wearing our Armani clothes and driving this car. John McEnroe, when he won his first tournament, he bought one of these. This is a classic car, and it stayed classic all the way through until it was replaced in 1989. It's almost obvious, so it was probably too easy to pick this one. But Stefan, I love this car. I know it's not your favorite SL, but you got to admit it's a Hall of Fame car.
Absolutely. But the thing about the 560 SL, when somebody drives up during that era in a 560 SL, you just knew that they'd made it. They
Yeah,
were uber successful. It was classy, it was expensive, but you know, somebody that could afford to have this car that they had just done they'd done very well for themselves.
this was the era, Stefan, and Lexus kind of blew this up. But this was an era where you could buy a Cadillac, a 1988 Cadillac, would cost you about $25,000. And to get this Mercedes, you're talking about 70 grand back then.
Yeah.
It was, more than it was almost triple the price of a Cadillac. And yet everyone they got, they could sell it.
Yep.
All right, next is going to be this is one that you're going to like. It's the 1994. It was for 3 years. They built the F-150 Lightning, and it had the 5.4 liter engine. It was all about performance. It was fast. I think it's hilarious that their electric F-150 that they just discontinued is called the Lightning. When they had this Lightning, and this was kind of, now the coolest F-150 is the Raptor, which is made for off-road. This was made for the street. Stefan, I think this belongs to, you could argue the same era they had the Chevy 454 SS, but this truck was nicer and better.
Yeah, I remember when that truck came out, but it's like you couldn't tow with it or haul with it, but boy, was it cool and could light up a set of tires. And it's just, I like it when a manufacturer chooses to do something a little bit outrageous and, you know, throwing a very nice, powerful motor in a two-door truck that doesn't even have a crew cab of any kind because this car was just made for coming up. This truck was just made for coming to stoplights and basically just running and peeling rubber. I mean, yeah, that's a good one. I've got a similar choice in this, but a very good choice.
The 1986 Honda Accord,
Oh,
this was the hidden headlight Accord. This was the first Accord. This was the first Japanese car that said, "Hey, they had a lot of problems with rust in the 70s and early 80s. This said, we have arrived. Our rust problems are over. The quality you all look for in our engines and transmissions, well, that quality goes to the bodywork, the interiors. This was a very, very nice car aimed at the middle class of America. Because of this car, Honda of North America, I think there were 3 or 4 executives that went to jail because the demand was so high for these cars.
yeah.
The dealers, one dealer paid for a new pool for one of the executives at Honda North America. They got bags full of cash. There was this incredible bribery scandal because of this car. And people just said, we're tired of Chevys and Fords and all this other stuff. German cars are too expensive. This is a car we can absolutely live with. It's big enough for my family. This that generation, yeah, that's the first generation Accord. This
That's
is
what I
the
had. That's the Honda Accord I had.
Yeah, but that was too small for everyday
Yeah,
use. First, it was
yeah,
too small for families. Second generation, same thing, too small. Third generation came out in
yep,
1986, just right the size. And, it just Hall of Fame because it changed how people looked at Japanese cars, not just Honda.
right.
And then
That's a good
lastly,
call.
Adams always says that Steve has to mention Ferdinand Piëch at least once in every episode. Well, this is a Piëch era masterpiece, the 2003 Volkswagen Golf R32. And
Oh,
this was peak golf. They said, we're going to compete with Mercedes with Volkswagens. And this came out around the same time as the Phaeton. This Golf was beautiful. It had a beautiful interior. This VR engine, narrow angle six cylinder, was a gem, six-speed manual. This car, absolute four-wheel drive. This car, it's an Audi in a Golf suit, and it belongs in the Hall of Fame.
yeah, good calls, all of those.
All right, I
My
want to see yours. I'm dying to see
Yeah,
yours.
so I kind of took a little bit of a different approach. I
I
wanted I
know.
want
I knew
yeah,
that was going to happen, Stefan.
yeah, I kind of went for the back row of the Hall of Fame. Cars that
Okay.
have to be there, but they're not front and center. But the minute you see it, you're going to be, oh yeah, definitely that needs to be there. All right, so number one on top. Here we go. Of course, 99 Miata. This is the car that I have. I mean, the Miata has to be in there because you have to have the Miata. I mean, think about it. It revived the early 60s, 70s is all about the British convertible, the Roadster. Those died. The Miata brought back the Roadster. It was lightweight fun. It was horsepower, had plenty of horsepower. It was very affordable, super reliable. It had the cast iron block from the TT323 turbocharged car. So the block was perfect, perfectly balanced, accessible. And this really reset an entire generation and still to this day of sports car philosophy that yes, you can have a cool sports car that isn't going to strand you on the side of the road all the time. So for me, the Miata has to be there. Um,
I couldn't agree more. Here's what it brought. It brought number one, lightness.
yes.
Too many sports cars are
And
heavy.
to this day, they stick by
Yep,
that.
yep. Lightness number one, balance number two, and the balance came from the other formula you just mentioned, which is front engine, rear wheel
Rear,
drive, and
yes.
that gives you weight balance, and that gives you driving balance, and then you add lightweight, and you have and a manual transmission. You have fun.
Yep. All right. So then here's
Jeff Bank is smiling somewhere.
yes.
The other Miata owner, you have a Miata, and so does he.
All right. So here's another one. Look at this, man. So let me tell you why this car is important. So this is the Mercury Marauder. Okay. So if you remember the 90s, 2011, the Crown Vics, the Ford Crown Vic, every cop car police was a police interceptor version of of the Crown Vic. That's what they drove there everywhere. This was the last American body on frame sedan to be made. All the way to 2011, body on a frame. I mean, it was really the modern day Model T. They put a gigantic V8 in it, nearly indestructible drivetrain. And this to me is like your Ford Lightning, Steve-O. This is just crazy. A Mercury with the leather interior and these fancy five-spoke wheels, and it's got a honking V8 in it. I think that is just kind of a sleeper. And the audacity of doing it to me deserves the Hall of Fame.
Wow, I didn't see that one coming, but I think the Panther platform belongs in the Hall of Fame because
Yes.
it went from stripped Crown Victoria taxi to the very sporty Marauder, Mercury Marauder, which had really, really good suspension and was really good on the track. It was a really, really good car, good performance car, really fun to drive, to the town car, the Lincoln Town Car, the Panther platform. And I talked about the R107. The Panther R107 Mercedes went for like 18 years. The Panther Ford platform went for like 25 years.
Yeah, it started back in 1998. I mean, it's been around forever. I mean, that probably, but the Panther
But it
platform
dates
before
back
that. But the
before
Crown
that
Vic
because
was 98. Yeah, goes.
yeah, because it dated back, you could argue that it dated back even to the 70s.
Yep. And then for me, I've talked about this car previously, but I have to say there you go, the GMC Typhoon. So this is what Ford's response, the Lightning was response to this, because the GMC did the Typhoon. The truck was a Cyclone, and the SUV was a Typhoon, and it was a turbo V6 all-wheel drive. But
You have
these this
pictures?
oh, I should hit screen share. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't see
I
I
Here
want
it
to see
is.
the Marauder. I forgot how good look. I want to see how good looking that was.
Oh,
I
you
really
didn't.
do.
Okay, here's a Marauder.
Yeah. Oh, it looks badass in black.
Oh yeah, doesn't it? All right.
It's
So
beautiful.
here's the Typhoon. So to me, this has to be in the Hall of Fame. The reason this kicked off the whole idea that it's okay to take a SUV and try to make it not drive like a pig. To make it sporty, to make it haul ass. Think about the BMW M, all the M series BMWs, the AMG, Mercedes SUVs. Everybody's doing it. The day of the hot hatch is now the day of the hot SUV. And it really kicked off by this. And I think this will be, you put this in the back row of the Hall of Fame, people are going to be like, oh, yeah, that was so cool at the time. So I think, I just think that it's got to be in there. And the other thing is, as you're reading car magazines as a kid, okay, Car and Driver, Mud this thing was faster than Ferraris in magazine test 0 to 60. I mean, how outrageous was that? You know,
You know what that
so
reminds me of, Stefan? I do remember that. I'd forgotten about this truck, but
yeah.
now that you remind me, I do remember in comparison tests, it was really, really fast. And it reminds me of there was a race car driver from the 80s and 90s named Bob Aiken, and he was talking about the 935, but he could be talking about a lot of things. But the 935 was a very, very fast, successful car, and it should have never succeeded, and it did. And what he said about it was, he said, all the money in the world can't turn a pig into a racehorse, but it can make a pretty fast pig.
Yeah. So here,
That's what this is.
so the Cyclone was lighter than Typhoon. They were all-wheel drive. What do you think the 0 to 60 time in 1991 was for the GMC Cyclone?
I don't know. You can tell me,
But
but I
take a
will tell you
guess.
this:
Just what do you?
it was, a fat anything under 10 seconds was considered fast. 8 seconds was a sports car, maybe 7 seconds. A Porsche Turbo was down around 5 to 6, which was insane.
Yeah,
Ferraris were 0 to 60 in like 7 seconds. So I'm
4.3.
shit. I didn't
Oh,
realize it was that fast.
holy shit!
Ferraris
1991.
were like
People,
seven
that is
seconds.
ridiculously fast. That's
I didn't
insane.
realize
That was an insane time.
that would have been faster than a 911 Turbo back then.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Oh,
So,
it's
so
insane.
that's why it's got to be in the Hall of Fame. I love that. I just love that. And then here's my next one in beautiful color.
Oh,
So this we had this. So for you that aren't, this is the Volvo V70R. Now we had the 850 turbo. We did not have the V70 came later. So once again, this is the state, the Volvo manufacturer of all things boring and boxy. And their station wagon sold at the time. I mean, we owned one. That was the SUV or the minivan of the era was to have a station wagon. And but the Volvo 850 was actually a cool station wagon, the turbo. But dude, if you showed up in the R, I mean, and you saw plenty of dads driving the R. Or they would buy the R for their wife, and then they would go rag the thing. but 300 horsepower in a family wagon with a great suspension, 2.5 turbocharged 5 liter. And what a sleeper of a vehicle. All-wheel drive. I mean, just it's fabulous. Absolutely love it.
By the way, not 5 liter, 5 cylinder, which is
I'm
what you
sorry,
meant to
five
say.
cylinder. I'm sorry, five
And
cylinder.
that's has a very distinctive sound. I remember the 850 was raw.
Yeah.
It wasn't it was raw, but the V70 they smoothed out the rough edges. It
Yes.
was a joy to drive.
And look at that's a perfect. I had an Acura Integra back in this era, and this teal color was a very popular color at the time, and that's the one that would need to be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, I love it. I
All
love
right.
it.
And now
Yeah.
here's another. Here's this is a real odd one too. All right. How about this? This is the Hyundai Genesis Coupe in the 3.8 liter engine in the sleeper trim, the R. So once again, Hyundai came out, then they opened Genesis. I mean, they started the Genesis and they're trying to kind of get in the market. And the Genesis was kind of like, the Acura to the Honda, the Lexus to Toyota. And this is just kind of their nice looking sedan, but they crammed a 348 horsepower V6 into this thing, rear wheel drive, front engine, rear wheel drive. And it was legit track capable right out of the box. But this is the first attempt and this is really Hyundai Hall of Fame, but this is the first time that they showed the world that they could build a true performance car.
I think
And
you could get it with a manual, I think.
yeah, and it really kind of shocked the industry. People are like, now Hyundai's got the N. This is like the birth of the N series in Hyundai's, and so these are all kind of back row Hall of Famers that when you go to the museum, you hit the first couple rows, then you're going to be WTF in the back row with these, and that was how I approached this.
Yeah, I would say this about I think all of yours except for the Miata. None of these are first ballot.
No, they're no, absolutely not. This is not Richard Petty in the NASCAR Hall of Fame first round. No, these, yeah. This is getting way down there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
not
what I
Willie
want.
Mays.
This is my back row. These are my back row choices.
I like it. I like all of them. I totally agree, actually. That the Typhoon I didn't see coming because, but I forgot the numbers, Stefan. I forgot those numbers.
4.3 seconds. That's insane. And it's
Is
all-wheel
is
drive, I mean, you put a lot of horsepower with all-wheel drive, it's going to go fast because it's just going to launch off the line and eat the pavement.
yeah. Hello, new BMW M5. It's got 4 wheel drive because it has to have 4 wheel drive.
Well, because it weighs 8,000 pounds or something too. So
Oh, gee, I know I think it's 6,000, but
the
it's
thing is, yeah, right
crazy.
about 6,000 pounds. Oh,
It's not good. But let's face it, the same thing happened with the Corvette. They had to make a mid-engine because they couldn't get traction. You couldn't get the power down because the tires couldn't hook up anymore. It's too much power for the tires.
yeah.
So you
Well, yeah,
put
well,
extra weight on the rear wheels, and then all of a sudden you get more traction. Hello 911 turbo.
yeah, look at the size. Next time, listeners, you see a brand new 911, take a look at how wide the tires are under that car. They are insanely wide,
Yeah.
but to get the
So
power down.
I loved your choices. That was fun. I had fun thinking about
Yeah,
different
so did I.
versions.
I just I want to have the kind of a different approach to it.
Yeah.
That kind of made it more fun than some of the obvious ones.
Right. Some of the obvious ones, like we were talking earlier, I mean, like it's not fun to do that. But if you come up with some that are off the beaten track, hello, Marauder,
Yeah.
then it's fun. All right, close this out. We will be back next or in 2 weeks roughly, and Stefan will have a new knee.
Well, yeah, so we'll have to figure it out, see, because we got Christmas is not that far away. So anyway, thank you everybody for sticking with us and listening. And if you do have an interesting idea for your high school reunion, please send it in and we'll give you some airtime for it. I think that's a topic that we'll keep on giving.
Amen.
All right, thanks. Hit the bell, hit like, subscribe, and we'll see you back soon.